Hey everyone, welcome to Grit Tales. My name is Gautam Tulugu and thank you for watching my channel. If you haven't watched any of my previous videos, I try to bring in content related to HR, careers, life in Canada, and much more beyond that. Your journey, my story. Have you noticed your PR application taking longer than usual? Or maybe someone you know was asked for additional documents even when everything seemed in order? It's not just you. IRCC is certainly tightening its checks and thousands of applicants are feeling it. But here's the question, how much does this scrutiny impact your chances of securing a permanent residency in Canada? And what can you do to avoid getting stuck? Stick around because understanding what's happening behind the scenes could be the difference between success and frustration. Well, I'm not an immigration consultant, a lawyer, or RCSC agent, but this is all from my experiences and my research that I'm trying to bring you that content. And if you really need some sort of a guidance, I would always recommend you to go into consult our immigration lawyer or authorized consultant to look into your file and advice. And when I applied for my PR, I remember meticulously filling out every form and triple checking my documents. Back then, the process already felt overwhelming, but things seemed straightforward. You submit your documents, wait a few months, and hope for the best. But today, the landscape has certainly changed quite a lot. I've seen this in one of the groups. One of the individuals received a procedural fairness letter, PFL they call it as, asking for proof of funds again, months after they had already submitted everything. And another applicant was asked for travel histories from over a decade ago. And it got me thinking, why is this happening now? What's behind these increased checks? And if you have been through the process or are already planning to apply, you know this journey is about more than just paperwork. It's about dreams, opportunities, and starting afresh. That's what's at stake, and it's why this discussion is so important. Let's break it down. First, who is involved here? On one side, you have hopeful applicants. Those are students, workers, families, people who have done everything by the book. On the other side, you have IRCC, tasked with balancing immigration demands with security and accountability. But here's the twist. Alongside these growing numbers, there's also been increased scrutiny of all these applications by IRCC. Because of fraudulent cases and misrepresentation in applications have made headlines recently. And I'm sure you all have seen that, and we also talked about it. Whether it's fake job offers, fabricated documents, or misuse of the system. And that's the reason IRCC under pressure to have every applicant genuine. And when the stakes are this high, even small inconsistencies can trigger red flags. And this is all not just for fraud prevention, it's about also maintaining that public trust in the immigration system, right? So in case people are entering with sort of fake job offer letters and misrepresentation, imagine the kind of image Canada would carry in the long run in the mindsets of the people of Canada, the citizens and everyone. While this is all happening, the genuine applicants, for them, this increased vigilance means more hurdles, more delays, and quite frankly, more stress. Let's understand why the increased scrutiny. And the number one is certainly fraudulent cases, because recently cases of fake employment letters or misrepresented work experience have surfaced, leading to stricter document verification. For instance, a consultancy in India caught selling fake job offers to desperate applicants. And what's IRCC response? They've ramped up their background checks across the board. And also the second factor is post-COVID backlog. With the pandemic causing a massive delay in processing applications, the current workload is immense for completing those set of applicants which are still in the queue. And IRCC wants to ensure that they are not just processing faster, but also filtering out inaccuracies during their phase, which is quite important. Secondly, let's understand the key reviews which are under review, especially the proof of funds. Like even small discrepancies like fluctuations in your bank balance can raise questions. And I've seen this in one of the groups where this person was asked to explain a 2 lakh withdrawal for a family emergency. And another one, which is all about the travel history, the applicants are now being asked to submit exhaustive travel histories to verify their time spent in certain countries. And for many of them, recalling details from 10 plus years ago is certainly a challenge in itself, right? And work experience verification. If you have claimed work experience, expect IRCC to contact your past employers. In bits and pieces, this might be happening, but for some of them, it may not be happening because of your genuinity in the documents. But I think ground rule is, I think they're trying to run those checks for almost everyone. So that's the ground level of information that we could. And I certainly welcome that, because there are people who assume that, okay, it's very easy to inflate your resume and just put up whatever experience, even if you have not secured genuinely, right? That's definitely a welcome move for me, and I'm sure everybody who has been through that appreciates it. And the negative aspect or the cons of it is some of the applicants' process was delayed because their employer did not respond promptly to the verification email or the verification call that has gone to them to authenticate the experience of this individual. Which is obviously, when there are pros, there are cons as well for every situation and every policy for that matter. And this is one of it. And thirdly, let's understand how this impacts the genuine applicants. Imagine this: you have done everything right, submitted every document, and suddenly you get a letter asking for a clarification on something seemingly minor. And I did also get at one point in time during my journey, but of course, I've actioned on it, which was in a different scenario. But the stresses were sure real. For many, these checks mean delays in securing jobs, reuniting with family, or starting a new chapter. And the last point that we would like to touch upon today is what can you do to avoid delays? The first and foremost is stay transparent. Double check your application for accuracy. Any small inconsistency can lead to further questions. So always verify, see if there are any gaps, any missing dots, connect them with adequate proofs or explanation even beforehand, so that there isn't any to or fro that probably that you can predict and avoid. In my case, my organization had changed the legal entities. I was in the support services wing, and then they changed into consulting at a later point in time due to legal complications. So they had to technically relieve me from the support services and onboard me in consulting. My work has not impacted, nothing has changed, my laptop is still with me, I was able to function as any other day, but technically that's how they have changed at the back end. But my initial pay stubs were on support services, and the second phase contains the Deloitte consulting in the pay stubs, right? When that happened, so obviously my start date got reset when I changed those entities. Technically means, while I'm saying that I worked with Deloitte for 12 years, but my pay stub says that I joined only in 2015. So I had to support and explain that gap well before. I think this is something that was caught when I was filing it, so that in order to avoid any sort of a misunderstanding or probably a question that might come up, I have explained it well beforehand, so that nobody had a second thought about or a question about the authenticity of the documentation, right? So be proactive. If IRCC asks for additional documents, respond quickly and thoroughly. For example, when I asked, and this also happened when I was asked for additional proof of funds, I not only sent updated statements but also included a detailed explanation letter and also included along with an affidavit. So that helped me to support my explanation and also get that process completed without any sort of an issue. Always prepare for verification. If possible, inform your employers about the possibility of IRCC reaching out to them. It's better to have them ready than risk delays. Have you ever wondered that a missed document or a simple typo might delay your entire PR process? What would you do if you received a fairness letter tomorrow? These are real fears for thousands of applicants, and the truth is, even with the best preparation, there's always an element of surprise and uncertainty. But does that mean you should lose hope? Not at all. Let's talk about how you can navigate these challenges without losing sleep. Well, here's the good news. While the process is more stringent, it's not impossible. The key is preparation and patience. Firstly, understand the process. Familiarize yourself with IRCC's requirements and updates. They publish changes regularly, and being informed gives you an edge. Sometimes they keep changing their formats of the forms that you need to complete. Don't use any outdated ones. Always go and download the most relevant and updated ones. Sometimes their ask me change to some specifics. Your friend might have submitted something else, but they might have changed after your friend has submitted. Don't go by your friend. Read what they've instructed, what they have genuinely asked you to submit. Be very specific. If they asked you to submit you 6 months related bank statements or documents, submit exactly 6 months. If they asked you to specifically submit experience letter with job responsibilities, you have to do exactly the same way. In case you're not able to submit in the specific way they want you to submit, give an explanation letter as to why you're not able to submit the documents so that you can avoid sort of delays or sort of rejection. So I think what I've been seeing is a lot of people are getting rejections because of these inconsistencies in documents or inconsistency in submission of documents. So always organize your documents, keep everything ready from old travel stamps to detailed bank statements. Stay calm and composed. If you receive additional requests from IRCC, see it as an opportunity to strengthen your application, but not as a setback. I'm sure the journey to PR is challenging, but every step brings you closer to your goal. And remember, you're not alone. Thousands are navigating the same system, and there are resources and communities to support you. Now, here's a question for you. What's been your biggest challenge with the PR process so far? Is it the documentation, the waiting game, or maybe something else? Drop your experiences in the comments below because your story might just help someone else in the same boat. And if you are curious about more tips on navigating Canada's immigration system, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and we will get into plenty of insights coming your way. Until next time, stay hopeful and stay prepared. And thank you for watching Details.